Battlefield 2. Yeah, Battlefield 2, that's almost 2 decades ago. It was the first Battlefield to do a lot of the things that we see today. It was the first Battlefield for modern era. It was the first Battlefield where you have squads, where you have commander, where you had drop vehicles. I think it was the first one where you could have some destruction in destroying artillery and bridges. Not entirely sure. Maybe you can destroy bridges already in 1942. I'm not really sure about that one. But a lot of the things that we see today and we take for granted in the Battlefield game was invented and or at least introduced in Battlefield 2. And I actually intended to speak mostly about the commander. Because there was such a unique feature, really. So this is the commander view that we can see right now, and the clip that I have is actually from when I played a little bit more competitive. The actual game itself, I think it's a friendly game where I played with BlueScreen against... I forgot which... We will see that in chat eventually who we played against, but I completely forgot that at the moment. But usually when we played competitive games, I didn't play commander, and you only did that when you played 8v8 vehicles, or in ESL Champions League you actually played, I think it was 12v12 or 60v16 or something. It's quite weird. As a commander, you would actually spawn in the world like any other player. And you were killable and so on, but you wouldn't get points for if you went around shooting people or stuff like that. Instead, you had this commander view which you could use, and you had a few different tools. First of all, we have recon up here, that button. So basically, for a short moment, you would be able to see on the entire map, you could see red dots where there were enemies, but it was only for the commander, so the other players couldn't see it. If you wanted to tell someone that there was someone there, you could right click and then select enemy spotted, basically. We'll get back to that a little bit, because that's actually a key feature for how the commander used, especially when we played in competitive gaming, because it was a difference in how you did in competitive gaming compared to public gaming. Actually, if you played commander in public games as we used to do in competitive gaming, you would usually get kicked or banned even if you kept it going. But anyway, so the second tool that you had it was the artillery, and that is basically what it sounds. You select the position on the map and you will get like not out of bounds artillery per se, because the artillery would actually be on the map and destructible for the enemy, so you can remove your ability to fire artillery. But basically it will for a short moment it will burst in the area, and we will see that also in the clip. The UAV is basically what it sounds like, a UAV circling about and constantly spotting an area for a certain amount of time, and those spots were available, would show on the minimap for everyone within the team, and that was also destructible. Materials is what we do right here. So back in the days here, tanks and stuff, they didn't have any own like repair capabilities or so. So if you wanted to repair your tank, you had to step out and actually repair it, basically, as an engineer. Or you could ask the commander to drop a box, and that would be the supply box. That would automatically repair the tank, and it would also refill ammunition and so on. And you could also drop a vehicle, and that would be a fast jeep, like a small jeep that you could drop. And because this was the first game where you had squads, you could also spawn on the squad leader. You could only spawn on the squad leader. That's a difference compared to the modern Battlefield games. But the squad leader could actually go in the jeep and position himself in a really good place, and you could like go on a nice flank or stuff like that. Typically, if we played 8v8, you would have 2 squads, and each squad would have 2 set up squad leads, and they will alter. So while the squad and one squad lead was attacking one position, another squad lead would go around to another position, and if they didn't manage to win the first fight, or it didn't go fast enough, the second squad lead could say spawn on me, and you would switch a little bit quickly, and then suddenly you would have full squad 5 players actually. The modern squads are 4 players, but back in the days it used to be 5. So they would quickly spawn in a different location. Because we were 8 players, one is commander, then you have 5 players in one squad, and then usually you had 2 vehicle drivers or 3 depending on which map it was. So here you can see there's a tank driver. And if we just play this clip a little bit, so I'm dropping the box over here for the tank driver, and this is the zoomed in. Here you see, this is the typical overview that the commander had and worked with. We are China, and you can see I'm sitting over here, and if the enemy wants, they could go up and kill me if they manage to go bypass everyone else, but well, you have to be a little bit careful. Over here we have our APC, which is a typical position because we have this village, and you want to prevent the enemies from going up here or going over here. Then typically you want to grab this flag as soon as possible, and you would place a tank somewhere around here. If we place a tank over here and we have the APC over here, the enemy won't be able to go up here, they won't be able to go over here, and they won't be able to go over there. And that is like the perfect lock for basically whatever they are trying to do. On this map, there is one helicopter pad over here with an attack helicopter, and it's one over here. When it comes to winning in Battlefield 2 and on this map, but basically on any map really, if you played competitive gaming, it was all about having the helicopter in the air. If you had the heli, you would have air superiority, and you would basically control the entire map, or you would have a good opportunity to do so, because the attack helicopter have a TV missile that, let's say our attack heli, if it would be over here, that TV missile could go all the way here, and one hit will destroy a tank, APC, or a enemy helicopter or whatever, whatnot. One hit, that's all. And typically you would C-switch. So you had one pilot going up in the helicopter, he would do the TV missile, and during that time the helicopter would stall a little bit and slowly turn to the side, and you could hit whatever you want, and then you go back to the seat to pilot the heli again. And by doing so you would basically dominate the game. So it could be a little bit one-sided, although. Here you see the menu a little bit. So when you right click, you get a little bit of a menu like this, and this option is the one that says enemy spotted. So after a while you will actually learn, if you right click and move the mouse a little bit down there, you would actually show enemy spotted, and then you would basically click all over the map, try to spot the enemies. And here's the thing, that if you did this in like competitive gaming, that option, you would either get a dot for where the enemies are, like so, or you would get a small question mark if there is no enemy nearby. If you had, for instance, a lot of question marks over here, that basically means that there's no enemy over there. So this was really valuable information, but if you did that in public, because the commander was constantly saying enemy spotted every time you click that, you would actually get kicked because people would be upset. But in competitive gaming, you would always do that. And then maybe you will lower the voice for commander or something in the settings, or you can do a lot of different things. You can see all the other options. You have the artillery, UAV, supply drop, vehicle drop. Then the commander could also tell the squad leaders to move, attack, defend, and so on. And then the squad leaders will actually confirm or deny the order. And when they did, it will, if they accept the order, it will propagate to their squad. Obviously, you wouldn't use this in competitive gaming because you would actually communicate and speak to each other. But for public gaming, you could actually tell someone, and even if there was something like 2 or maybe 3 squad that actually followed your order as a commander in a public game, let's say with 64 players, that would actually be enough to win a game, usually, because you could see where the bulk players went, and then you could tell someone, go to that flank or do that, and if they did, you would usually win the game in public. But obviously, this is competitive gaming, that's why you play on a small map and so on and so forth. So the spotting, you see, I spot, they get some question marks. That's really valuable for a team. And here I prepare the artillery, and this is a key thing because our helicopter is over here, and I have the artillery. So when we destroy the enemy helicopter, the normal procedure would be for our helicopter to destroy their helicopter as soon as it spawns over here. Our helicopter does it the first time, then I do it with the artillery the second time, then there is a certain amount of cooldown on my artillery, so during that time our helicopter would go back and do that again, and then we would just circle around like that. That means that our helicopter could go and refill the ammo, or it could control another area as well. For instance, if now I'm putting the artillery over here, if they have a vehicle coming over here, our helicopter can just knock it out. So this was basically what you used to do. And in the early days, you always knew, someone would have knew the timing from when their helicopter was destroyed. So it was really important information that our team would actually say, I destroyed the heli. And this was, as a commander, I would have to note the time. And then I had a countdown for when I should drop the artillery to time. So because it takes some time for the artillery to actually drop. So I need to to place the artillery over here before the helicopter spawns, but I need to time it, otherwise it won't really work. So if we just play the clip over here, you see I'm waiting a little bit. Now I have placed the artillery, so now it's on cooldown. Their helicopter is not there yet. It will be soon, and I'm taking some time to spawn, to spot. And then, just to make sure that I really got their helicopter, because if I miss their helicopter, this would be a big problem. You see, it's still not there. There is one player over here and one player over here. One of them are probably the pilots waiting for it to spawn. This is the stationary AA that they are trying. But actually, there is no one there. It's a question mark. This is me telling our helicopter that it's okay, otherwise they will try to chase our helicopter away with that. And if we continue to play, so it's still some time in between, so I could take the time to just quickly spot the vehicle that went away over here. And now I zoom in again, and you see by now their tank is moving up here. And I will next I will just show a little bit how it looks. Like so. Now their helicopter is actually spawned. The artillery is still not there, but you see their tank is placed over here, and that is to protect their helicopter from our APC. So basically the tank is standing in the way, shielding their helicopter, hoping that our APC will hit the tank over here instead of the actual helicopter. So now we are really depending on my artillery to having the right timing to destroy their helicopter. Because as soon as that leaves the ground, or even tilts it up a little bit, it will be able to destroy our helicopter, and then we are in deep trouble for winning the game. So you see, it's almost taking off, and here comes the artillery, and boom, gone. Mission successful. Really nice. And you can't actually see that on the screen, but we are in lead a little bit. And we also have, as you see on the map over here, we have 1, 2, and 3 objectives, which means that we have, it's really good. We will basically win this round. Nice. Yeah, so that was some quick, or perhaps not so quick, walkthrough of Battlefield 2 Commander. And I would really like to see that feature again, because I thought that was quite fun. It's been in some Battlefield games in different variations for a while. It's been, I think mostly, the latest version of it was where you had a iPad, for instance, so you could sit and click as a commander. You wouldn't actually be spawning in game, and I guess you can do it like that. But I actually enjoyed this. How it used to be, sort of.